The second poet for the evening will be Joanna Hoffman, who, formerly of DC Baltimore, currently of NYC Slam Scene, who will do many, many great things. Here is a little bit more about Joanna in tiny, tiny, tiny font. Joanna Hoffman wrote poetry obsessively through her teenage years and discovered slam in college. She went to her first slam at Zandos in 2000 and has been active in the scene ever since. She was a member of the 2002, 2006, and 2007 DC Baltimore Slam teams. In 2006, she performed in team finals, placing 4th out of 73 teams at the National Poetry Slam in Austin. She was also the 2007 DC Baltimore Grand Slam champion.
Hi, I'm Joanna Hoffman, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
It would be wrong for me to do a queer poetry reading and not read a poem about falling in love with my college roommate. So, here we go. I never would have told you I was in love with you if it hadn't been for our lesbian wedding on that Mexican boat. But sometimes it's hard to think straight in those type of situations, especially when we're drunk in a non-English speaking country and you turn to me and say, I know this was all a big joke to you, but I really meant it. What else could I say but that I really meant it too? It was a great night for obscure drunken revelations, the kind easily folded down into manageable sizes and packed away as hazy margarita memories that could have easily been a dream. I used to dream of my wedding, Debbie Gibson singing Lost in Your Eyes as me and my spouse of unspecified gender gaze lovingly into each other's eyes as if we really meant it and slowly traced the word love into our minds. As if our mortal bodies have any sense of the word. I mean, the odds are against lasting marriage, and so many people use love as a way to escape from themselves, and even fairy tales turn perverse once Disney gets their hands on them. But to tell the truth, of all my childhood dreams, this is the hardest one to awaken from. Because if maturity means forgetting how it felt to hold your hand, while the lull of the boat matched the smashing of bells in my chest, then maybe I'm not ready to grow up after all. Our honeymoon was in a tiny cabin. 151, our champagne and bathing suits, our wedding gowns. We drank our nervousness down and tried not to think about what this meant for our friendship. And there, in the most romantic moment of my entire life, my entire body freaked the fuck out because I've been wanting this for 2 years. 24 months of wanting to kiss you so bad my chest hurt to look at you. Of memorizing everything you say because when you say telephoto lens, it is the sexiest thing I have ever heard. And I've gotten so good at flinching without making a move when you tell me how much you love your boyfriend. And when I smile and say, I'm so happy for you, what I mean is I'm so happy with you. Every moment I spend with you shifts my energy into overdrive, and everything about you humbles me. From every eyelash on your face to every goddamn thing you say, especially telephoto lens. Our wake-up call came at 7 a.m. You slowly removed your arms from my body and said, I'm in love with my boyfriend. And my fairy tale died right there, leaving a decaying smell of vomit and Bacardi. And I scratched out the word forever from my mind and told myself it was time to grow up. Because in my deluded fantasies, when two best friends confess their love for each other, it always fucking worked out. But now you're not returning my phone calls, and it feels like I'm swallowing seawater every time I think of you. It only makes the thirst just that much worse. And when I dream, it's of you, walking out into the ocean, not even once looking back to see me, as if you really just didn't even care, as if it were really just that easy, as if you really meant it. And the lesson from that is don't fall in love with your college roommate. This is a brand new poem. This is for Tyler Clementi and Megan Meyer. When I was 13, there was nothing worse than having no one to sit with at lunch. The entire cafeteria became one silent, unblinking eye, x-raying down to the gentlest trembling of chin, fear unrolling snakebite down the hallway of my veins. When I tried to sit down, Kara put her bag in the empty seat and stared straight ahead while the other girls laughed, acid sparks crackling in the backs of their throats. A toast to the flood of relief that it wasn't them this time. When I remember, all I can think is, thank God we didn't have Facebook then. There were no live streams of the first time I kissed someone without having to pretend I was with someone else. No messages from fake MySpace profiles of boys who didn't recoil in mock disgust when I walked down the hall. No posted bulletins about what a loser I was. 15 years later, I still wince to think of what that would have felt like to a middle school me. Thin bones scrubbed to translucent so that any outside opinions bled through and settled in that hot tangle of light as if they always lived there. When it comes in the form of a text, an email, a Facebook status, the word dyke whispered when you walk by, the party invitations that stop coming, the friends who now turn away when they see you coming, the Friday night alone with your parents, the word dyke barked out in the locker room, the moment when you are sitting in your room with the door locked against the family that just doesn't understand you, with the silent phone resting on your stomach, when you decide that if everyone else thinks something is wrong with you, then there must be, and the hatred suddenly hatches in your own brain, and you don't have the capacity for perspective because the black curtain is falling all around you, and it's all you can do to just keep breathing, and even your own pulse as a mouth pressed up to the cold wall of your chest murmuring, dyke, bitch, ugly. It is then, when you are more salt than water, that you must float. Some part brain chemistry, some part random circumstance, some part just having the right person there at the right time. Crying in my sister's bed while she played me Tori Amos and told me, in a few years this will all be so far away. And I wish someone had been there for Tyler, for the ones who weren't so lucky, and if that even would have made a difference, to tell them that all of these faces twisted into sneer are so full of hate for themselves, that the parts of you they want to blot out with cigarette butts are the same parts of themselves that make them wince when they are alone. And you will soon find there are thousands of kids just like you, and that y'all are cooler than all of those dipshits anyway. And there are worse things in life than being hated by douchebags, like being hated by yourself. And in the end, it is just you and you. So you would better start working now to be the best you could be to yourself, because nobody else can define what beautiful means to you. And you will soon find there are people in your life who couldn't care less if you are gay, if you aren't stick thin, if you don't have a date to the prom, if you are different. I don't have it in me to write to the bullies. Through the years, they become an endless stream of faces you eventually learn to disregard. But they never stop coming. Let them soak in their own misguided misery. You will be the one moving forward. You will grow in beauty, not into it. The layers of your skin unpeel every year. At the blistering heart of it all, there is hope. Believe me, this will end. It will fade to the shadow of a scar that only aches on days like this, when an article in the newspaper brings you back to how you wanted to fade into the linoleum floor of that lunchroom. How the laughter slid around your neck like a smooth hand. How even now, you want to shake those girls until the human in them spills out onto the floor, and the girl with the purple bag finally looks you in the eye to say, "We didn't mean it, I swear."